All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and map out your journey through the Microeconomics for Business course. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a future corporate strategist, or honestly just someone trying to figure out why the world works the way it does, this text is an absolute game changer for your decision-making toolkit. I am super excited to guide you through this OpenStack's principles of microeconomics material today, giving you a high-level roadmap of exactly what we're going to conquer. We're going to use a zoom-in approach today. Our agenda looks like this. First, a welcome to economics. Then, micro versus macro. After that, the 5 main modules of the course, followed by diverse voices and perspectives, and finally, the tools for your journey.
Welcome to Economics. This is where we lay down the foundational bricks for everything else you're going to learn. Now, what exactly is economics? When you hear that word, your brain might immediately jump to math, money, Wall Street trading floors, right? But actually, it's really about making decisions every single day without having perfect information. Economists literally call this imperfect information because, let's be real, we rarely have all the data we need to make a flawlessly optimal choice. Still, whether you're debating adding a double major, picking a new show to stream, or trying to price a brand new product line, you are making hundreds of decisions a day. Economics is simply the study of how we navigate all those choices. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that economics exists to solve the fundamental problem of human existence, and that is scarcity. If you look around, scarcity is just a basic fact of life, right? Our wants for goods, services, and resources completely exceed what's actually available. Stuff like labor, tools, land, raw materials, they're all in limited supply. And yeah, that includes the ultimate limited resource, time. Every single one of us, rich or poor, has exactly 24 hours in a day to earn an income, buy what we need, or, just try to get some sleep. Economics gives us the lens to understand exactly how we allocate those scarce resources. Moving right along to Section 2, micro versus macro. Let's look at the 2 distinct lenses economists use to tackle this scarcity problem.
So the field is split into microeconomics and macroeconomics. They aren't totally separate subjects, though. It's much better to think of them as complementary perspectives. Microeconomics focuses on the individual agents within the economy. We're talking households, individual workers, specific businesses. Macroeconomics, on the flip side, zooms out to look at the broad economy as a whole, tackling the massive stuff like national growth, unemployment rates, and inflation.
There's a really brilliant metaphor for this. Think of studying the economy like studying a lake. The micro perspective is like putting on a snorkel and examining one specific plant, or watching the behavior of a single fish. The macro perspective? That's stepping way back to analyze the entire aquatic ecosystem and the whole food chain. You literally need both to understand the lake. It's the exact same in business. A company's micro decisions are totally influenced by whether the macroeconomy is healthy, while that macro performance is really just the sum of millions of micro decisions. Section 3, the 5 main modules. Now that we've got the lay of the land, let's zoom in on the specific curriculum and see exactly what you'll be mastering. The course is designed to take you on a really logical 5-step journey. Step 1 is the absolute basics. What is economics, choice, and scarcity? Step 2 introduces you to the legendary analytical model of supply and demand. Then Step 3 dives deep into the fundamentals of microeconomic theory, stuff like consumer behavior and production costs. Step 4 brings it all to the real world with microeconomic policy issues, touching on antitrust laws, poverty, and environmental challenges. Finally, Step 5 zooms back out to international economics, covering complex global trade and protectionism.
And don't worry, you're not just going to learn abstract theories here. Take the concept of elasticity, for example. You'll actually analyze real-world scenarios, like how streaming platforms such as Netflix use tiered pricing to actively influence buyer behavior. Just imagine walking into a coffee shop and suddenly getting charged separately for the coffee, the creamer, and the sugar. How would that completely alter what you buy? Well, you'll learn the economic frameworks to solve exactly that kind of pricing puzzle.
You're also going to explore some incredibly tangible business realities. A great example is how Amazon completely disrupted independent bookstores and massive retail chains alike by totally transforming the long-run costs of production. You'll look at how shifts in industry structure and online delivery literally changed the way consumers sell, buy, and read. It's fascinating stuff that translates directly to modern corporate strategy. Section 4, diverse voices and perspectives. What's really interesting about this specific textbook is its commitment to highlighting a wide spectrum of economic thought. Of course, you will absolutely study the foundational theories of the classic economists. You're going to learn from historical giants like John Maynard Keynes, whose groundbreaking ideas about government intervention and market forces pretty much shaped the modern macroeconomic landscape. But you'll also hear from modern voices who are actively pushing the boundaries of the field today. For instance, Nobel laureate Esther Duflo. She and her colleagues used experimental methods to break down massive, seemingly impossible issues like global poverty into solvable, incremental steps. As she put it, it's one in a series of small triumphs. They proved that economics isn't just a tool for maximizing corporate profits. It can be a massively powerful tool for social good. And to back up all these diverse theories, you're going to be working with real current data. You won't just have to take the author's word for it. You'll analyze actual census tables showing the vast range in the size of U.S. firms. Reading and interpreting raw data like this is a completely non-negotiable skill for any successful business leader. Actually, when we digest that census data, some pretty surprising facts jump out. Get this, nearly 80% of all U.S. firms have fewer than 10 employees. Meanwhile, only a tiny fraction, less than 2%, have over 100 employees. When economists talk about business, we are mostly talking about small-scale enterprises, from your local dentist to the neighborhood lawn care service. Understanding the data at this level really shatters preconceived notions and gives you a much more grounded view of the market. Section 5. Tools for your journey. Let's zoom all the way down to the specific learning tools built into each chapter to guarantee your success. The text uses three main features to connect the theory to actual practice. First, bring-it-home case studies kick off and wrap up each chapter, tying the core concepts to real-world events. Then there are work-it-out sections that guide you step-by-step through analytical problems so you're never left stranded on the math. And finally, clear-it-up boxes jump in to provide much deeper explanations for the trickiest topics. Best of all, because this is an OpenStax resource, everything is completely free and super flexible online. When you access the material in your web browser, you can utilize built-in highlighting and note-taking features to easily create your own personalized study guides. It's totally designed to let you study where you want, what you want, and when you want. So as you get ready to dive into this explainer and the material ahead, I want to leave you with a quick thought. Knowing that economics is the ultimate toolkit for making decisions when resources are scarce, how will you use this powerful new lens to optimize your own daily choices, navigate your career path, and maybe even run a business of your own one day? The journey starts right now. Enjoy the course.